Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here, once again with a Q&A video on all of the Arrowverse shows as a whole. So the first thing I want to say is thank you for all the support on not only these Q&A videos, which has been awesome, because they've gotten much better response than I thought they ever would, honestly, when I launched them. But also just thanks for all the support on the different bonus videos leading up to these new seasons, from the end of last season to the beginning of these new seasons, which start tomorrow, which feels really good saying that. But in regards to the Q&As, I'm probably going to do them this day every week. So in the certain reviews and even the trailer breakdowns of the different shows, I might leave questions. If you are watching this video right now, on those different videos, leave questions. Okay, that's just like the sort of like the heads up, so you don't have to listen to it throughout that video. And on this day every single week, I'll choose like 2 or 3 questions from every single show. Probably 2, just to make it like 8 questions. Keep it not too long, but not too short. Just little questions that don't necessarily need to be made into big bonus theory videos, if you want to call it that. So I'll mention it in like the first week of all the reviews and stuff, but this is the heads up to everyone that's watching this video. But let's not fool around, let's jump into question 1, which comes from Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. What an honor that you are commenting or leaving a question on my video. And he goes, who is your favorite Legends of Tomorrow character? Now, I think I got a similar question to this in like a Q&A recently, like not my last one or the one before, but like, within the last month and a half or something. I think I said, like, which Legends of Tomorrow character would you be? And I think I said Mick, like Heatwave, because all he does is eat and drink. But in regards to who's my favourite Legends of Tomorrow character, it would probably be Nate. Like, I really liked Nate in Season 2. I thought he was a great addition to the show. I'm excited to see what they do with him in Season 3. So, yeah, I think I do like Mick, though. And I didn't want to answer this question with the same answer I had for that other one. So I thought I'd choose Nate, because I think he just pips Nick. Nate, because he just pips Mick, not Nick. But yeah. Question 2 comes from Stir. I think it's Stir. I write these down in a notepad, so I think I've written Stir. And he goes, could the Ninth Circle possibly be the villains in a future Arrow season? So for those that haven't read Rebirth, any of the DC Rebirth, the Ninth Circle are also like the first arc, the villains for like the first arc, if you want to call it that. It's definitely a possibility. In regards to a future Arrow season, they'd have to like establish a lot more in the universe with Oliver Queen, but it would be cool to see that. I guess it would be spoiled a lot if you've read the comic, but because that's such a new story, maybe not as many people would be familiar with it. But then again, a lot of people have read DC Rebirth that might not have read comics beforehand. But it would be cool to see Ninth Circle. It'd be interesting to see how they would do it. I think they would do a bit of a different take on it. Maybe in regards to where it's set and who's involved. But that concept would be pretty cool to see. And if you haven't started reading Green Arrow Rebirth, I would definitely recommend it. I think it's one of, if not the best, Rebirth stories going at the moment. So yeah, definitely get up on it if you have been considering it. Question 3 comes from, I've lost my place, the Blue Pac-Man, sorry. And he asks, or they ask, does Barry's age change when he is in the Speed Force? Now, going by what we've seen, he's gone for 6 months. It's not like he was gone for like 4 years or something. So it's hard to tell whether he's how much he's aged, because we know that he's lived his life from beginning to end. But because the Speed Force, it doesn't really run off the same like time frame and stuff, or the timeline, if you want to call that, or the time space that our existence does, or our reality does. He would age differently than what we would. So it could be 5 years here, but like no time there. So he could go in there as like a 12-year-old and come out like 20 years later in our reality, but still be 12 years old. So different things like that. I think someone compared it to like the Speed Force is like what's the thing? Is it the Time Chamber or something in Dragon Ball Z? I can't remember what it's called. I haven't watched that show in ages. So yeah, it's similar to that. Question 4 comes from Ryan Conlon, and he goes, how do you think Sarah and Ray would react to Black Siren? So this is a thing that I'm very much looking forward to in the crossover, because just as the crossover was about to be filmed, there had news had come out that Black Siren might not be in the crossover, and I was actually very disappointed with that. But from what we've seen with Katie Cassidy, who obviously plays Black Siren, or Laurel Lance, it does seem that she's in some portion of the crossover, and because she was in Vancouver at the time that they were starting the crossover filming. And for those that didn't know, they actually started filming Legends of Tomorrow first. So you think if they were going to have Sarah and then also, I guess, Ray meeting Black Siren, it would happen in the Legends of Tomorrow episode, or possibly the Arrow episode, but I would say Legends because Sarah and Ray are on Legends of Tomorrow. So I think that would be really cool. Mainly Sarah, I guess Ray because he knew her. It would be, I guess, warranted as well. But it would be such a wasted opportunity not to have Sarah meet Black Siren. They would have to do that. And if they didn't, I think it would be just a travesty if they didn't do it. Question 5 comes from SpongeBob Man, and they ask, do you think a Green Arrow solo movie in the DCEU or the DC Extended Universe is possible? Of course it's possible. Anything is possible. I think the thing that very much helps a Green Arrow solo movie coming about is Arrow's success. I know Arrow isn't technically like the most pure take on the Green Arrow character and the Green Arrow like mythos, if you want to call it that, but it's still promoting and advertising the Green Arrow character, even if it's not as accurate as some people would like, including myself. It would be better if there was certain parts that were more accurate. There obviously was that rumor that in the Gotham City Sirens movie that maybe, or they're going to do a Birds of Prey movie even, but maybe Gotham City Sirens, if they had the Birds of Prey appear, the Green Arrow would also appear in some aspect. That would be pretty cool. I think that would do it. It just matters when. And also, obviously, there's things going on in DC, like change and stuff like that. But you think Green Arrow, especially because also it's popular in DC Rebirth at the moment in regards to the comics, you think it would be almost like dumb not to eventually do it. And also, it wouldn't be like such as like CGI heavy film. It'd be very like, you know, like a vigilante because that's what he is. So, and also could do some sort of like political thing if they did make it that he was mayor as well, or they might make it that he's just the head of Queen Industries, because I think in some Batman v Superman promotional material they had something like ranking all the different companies, and Queen Industries was on there, and it also had little things saying like that it had fallen down a bit because its CEO was always missing, was never there, obviously because he's oft being Green Arrow. But yeah, so it's possible. I would love to see it. I'm sure a lot of people would, but in regards to like the next 5 years, I highly doubt we'll see anything like that pop up. Question 6 comes from GG_Ali_B, and he goes, do you think Captain Singh knows that Barry is the Flash after months away from the Central City Police Department? Now, this is a common question a lot of people have asked. Yo, Barry's gone for 6 months, are people just not going to notice it at all? I'm assuming Team Flash comes up with some sort of alibi as to where Barry's been, but then obviously we have it that like the Central City Police find Barry, you know, when he's got the beard, he comes out of the Speed Force naked. So how are they going to explain that? Maybe they said he went backpacking or something and then just, I don't know, came back naked. I don't know how they're going to explain it. But I think some more people will know that Barry's the Flash. I think Captain Singh has his suspicions. But I don't think he specifically will find out that Barry's the Flash. But you might get some other people connecting dots, saying, oh, the Flash disappeared on this date. Barry comes back and then the Flash is back a couple of days later. People might connect dots. Maybe the Thinker. But yeah, I don't think Captain Singh specifically will like connect the dots and like say, oh, Barry's the Flash. I don't think that's going to happen. Question 7 comes from 12 Chapin. He goes, do you think they should introduce the Watchmen into the Arrowverse? Now, I think I saw some other people asking this, not recently, but it's like, you know, in the past. The issue with this is like the tone of like the Arrowverse and then the Watchmen. So no, I don't think that they'd ever introduce the Watchmen into the Arrowverse, but they are doing a Watchmen TV show on HBO. And it's made by the guy that did Lost and The Leftovers. And The Leftovers is such a good show. It only had 3 seasons, or 4 seasons? 3, I think it had 3. I should know, I finished it. Was it 3 or 4? It was 3 or 4 seasons. Really good show. I think it was one of the best TV shows, if not the best TV show when it was on. And then Lost was obviously good, and then the writer's strike sort of wrecked that show a bit. But he's doing the show, and I'm very much looking forward to it. It's a TV show that can go more in depth than the movie did, and I think the movie's really good as well. Question 8 comes from Richard Paul. Yeah, sorry, I think I said Pad, but it's Paul. And he's left a long one. He goes, I'm a big fan of Smallville and now all things Arrowverse. If they somehow crossed over to that Earth and had Lex and Clark in the story, do you think it would ruin the legacy of Smallville, which to me is the godfather of all these programs? In regards to that last bit, the godfather of all these programs, it's true. Like if Smallville wasn't as successful as it was, didn't set up like the way to run these shows, how a show like this is set out, like there really wouldn't be this like big superhero thing. Like really, Smallville ended, and then they did Arrow, and then we had all these other shows pop up as well, including like the Marvel shows as well. So Smallville's to thank for all of that, and like if that Smallville wasn't around at the time it was, we wouldn't have like Arrow and Flash right now. So it needs more respect than it does get, and it was also a very consistently good show. I think it only had like maybe 1 or 2 bad seasons, in my opinion at least. In regards to crossing over to that Earth, I don't think we'd ever get that. Like, I think the closest thing would have to, say, getting like Tom Welling or Michael Rosenbaum on the show is just like, you know, cameo, or not cameos, but like guest roles in an episode or two, like we've had with like, they're not guest roles, I guess, but how we have the guy that played, what's his name, Dean Cain, who played Superman in the 90s, and same with Terry Hatcher, who played Lois Lane. They came on, they played different roles, and then the actress that was Supergirl, like the 1980s movie, she's the mother of Kara on the show. Different things like that. And then we have like obviously John Wesley Shipp, who plays Jay Garrick, who was the Flash in the 1990s. Certain things like that. So I think that's the closest where we get. I know Tom Welling has like done an interview recently where he said he would come on the Flash, but I think they have to write it well and not force it. Make it like a good role. Don't make it like a Superman role and stuff like that. Make it like a good villainous or some sort of like guest cameo role that would just work and not feel too forced in. Because it'd be awesome to see them come on the show, and the same with Michael Rosenbaum, who played Lex Luthor on Smallville as well. Question 9 comes from F. Bailey, and he goes, what CW show do you think will end first? Whichever one it is, do you think the leads of that show will cameo from time to time? Now, you would think Arrow would end first, just because it's on season 6 at the moment, so you think they'll get to season 7, maybe wrap it up. But out of the 4 shows, or I think you mean CW DC shows, it would probably have to be Legends, because I think Legends was actually lucky to get a season 3. Just due, it does get the worst, like the worst, it does get the lowest views out of the CW DC shows, which isn't that bad, because I think it gets it's the lowest, which would mean it's number 4 out of those 4 shows. But I think on the CW it ranks like 5th, because it gets more than Riverdale, and I think the only other show that gets more than that is like that like sort of knocks it down is Supernatural. I think I might be wrong with that. But it wouldn't be lower than 6. So there's so many other shows on the CW that get worse views than Legends. But Legends does cost a decent amount to make in comparison to some other shows as well. But it just off like the hypothesis, if you want to call it, that Legends ends, yeah, those leads would most likely go to the other shows or to the shows that they originated from. Like Sarah would go back to Arrow, same with Ray. Martin Stein, I guess, would go back to The Flash, different things like that. Whatever shows those characters originated from, they'd go back to. But then I guess you have characters like Vixen and Nate, I guess, who didn't originate on any of the shows. They popped up on Legends, who would be like thrown into the abyss. But then they, I guess, could cameo. So yeah, but I think if they're like the people that originated on those different shows would go back to the shows that they originated from, but then people that originated from Legends would cameo, I guess, if the opportunity arose to do that. Question 10 comes from Remus Gaming, and they ask, do you think someone will die this year on The Flash? If so, who do you think will die? Honestly, well, they couldn't do another Harrison Wells because they did that last season. I'm trying to think off the top of my head if they could do, maybe Wally, just because it just seems like they really don't know what to do with the character. So they could do something maybe similar to like Young Justice, where he does sacrifice himself or he just dies. Yeah, he's probably the only one I could think of. They wouldn't do Iris because they really like teased us all last year that she was going to die and then she didn't die. And I don't think they'd kill off Caitlin. I don't think they'd kill off Cisco. So yeah, I'd probably just chuck in Wally there because he's probably the most likely, even though I don't think he's very, very likely to die. He's just the most likely out of the people that we have on the show at the moment. Question 11, and our second last question, comes from Dumb Nerd, and he goes, of all the DC TV shows, which character fits your personality best? I had to think about this. This is the only question I've like pre-thought about. And I think it's Ray, just because if you watch Legends, you'll know that Ray says all the jokes that he thinks are hilarious, but no one else laughs at them. That's me. That's me in a nutshell. I'll make jokes I think are like the funniest jokes in the world, and just no one notices them. Like, you arseholes. That was hilarious. You should laugh. So, Ray Palmer, definitely. And question 12, our last question, comes from Calzy, and they ask, is Supergirl worth watching? I left this till last on purpose because Supergirl's tomorrow. The biggest issue with Supergirl is consistency, might I say. I can have a really good episode and then I'll have like 4 like snoozes, like really boring episodes. You're like, oh, this is hard to get through. I'm very much looking forward to season 3 of Supergirl because I think it picked a story for the villain that actually is going to be interesting to see take place. If you didn't know, the villain is Rain, And if you watch Supergirl at the end of season 2, you would know what happened. So she's a fellow Kryptonian, I guess, but she doesn't know she's an alien. She isn't evil when we first meet her in the season. Something turns her evil, so there's going to be like a trigger point for that. I'm very interested to see what they do. I'm looking forward to the other shows more than Supergirl, but I'm still looking forward to Supergirl. In regards to watching from season 1 to season 2 to season 3, honestly, I'd watch like a recap for both those seasons, because there's a lot of filler. The villains are very weak on the show. They just do a lot of decent character development with the main heroes. But in regards to the villains, they're the weakest villains, I guess, that the DC TV shows have had. In my opinion, I think they're very weak. They're very boring. There's nothing too much interesting about them. So if you can watch like a recap of those seasons, I'm sure people do that on YouTube. They do recaps, or they might be even just read the Wikipedia, the different episode synopsises. If you don't have the time to watch it, or you have little time that you could spend on other shows. But I think season 3 of Supergirl is going to be worth watching. And I guess that's a sneaky plug to say, watch my Supergirl season 3 videos tomorrow. But thanks for watching, guys. Once again, I just want to say thank you for watching all these different Q&A videos and the bonus videos over the break. It's good that we have the shows back tomorrow, get back into the swing of things, and hopefully you guys all enjoy that. But if you did enjoy this video, it'd be awesome if you could leave a like on it to show your support for the video and the channel as a whole. Let me know in the comment section down below any responses to these questions if you want. Don't leave any questions in these comment sections, because I'm not going to come back to this video for questions. As I said, watch the different reviews and trailer breakdowns and leave questions on those videos for the various shows on those videos. Just because that's where I'm going to be picking questions to put in the video that I'm going to be doing weekly for all of the Arrowverse. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.